Welcome to the students of second PUC. This is session 9 of chapter 2, electrostatic potential and capacitance. In the previous session, we had derived the expressions for equivalent capacitance when capacitors are connected in series and when they are connected in parallel. In this session, we will derive an expression for energy stored in a capacitor and later be solving problems related to capacitors. Let us begin. Before beginning the derivation, let us understand how a capacitor stores energy. A capacitor has two parallel conductors. It gets charged The capacitor gets charged when a battery is connected. If I take this as plate 1 and plate 2, the plate 1 gets positively charged and plate 2 gets negatively charged. What is actually happening here is electrons are being pulled from plate 1 and being rearranged on plate 2. This is how the charging of a capacitor takes place. So the battery is doing work in pulling an electron from plate 1 and putting it on plate 2. So this work done by the battery is stored as electrical energy in the capacitor. But generally in all our derivations, the calculations are related with respect to positive charges. So today what we will be doing, instead of considering an electron is taken from plate 1 and been redistributed into plate 2, we would be considering that positive charge is been moved from plate 2 to plate 1. If we calculate the work done by the battery in taking the positive charges from plate 2 to plate 1, then that will give us the expression for energy stored in a capacitor. Let us begin to derive the expression for energy stored in a capacitor. So first, let me draw a capacitor which is charged to plus Q and minus Q on the plates and this be plate 1 and plate 2. So it is fully charged. So before this, let us consider an intermediate state where the same capacitor before getting fully charged, somewhere in intermediate state, let the charge on plate 1 be Q dash and on plate 2 be minus of Q dash plus dQ dash. So what is happening here is, in the process of charging, a small charge dQ, and it's a positive charge, is being taken from plate 2 to plate 1. This is how charging is happening. That is what we consider. So if we calculate the work done in moving a small charge dQ dash from plate 2 to plate 1, then we will get the energy stored. This can be written as minus of Q dash minus dQ dash. So let me begin. The small work done in moving a charge dq dash from plate 2 to plate 1 is dW, and this is going to be equal to the potential across the capacitors into the charge that is being moved. So before the capacitor is getting fully charged, let the potential difference across the capacitor be V dash. Now, so we know that charge is given by capacitance into potential. If you rearrange, the potential is going to be Q dash by C. So I will use this expression for potential difference, then we'll get, so which implies, the work done in moving a small charge dq dash will be equal to Q dash by C into dq dash. Expression 1. Now, so what is the total work done in moving the charge Q from plate 2 to plate 1? The total work done in moving a charge Q from plate 2 to plate 1 is, so it is going to be the integral of all the small works done. This is going to be, we are going to charge the plate 1 from 0 to Q, Q dash by C dq dash. If you integrate this, 1 by C is a constant capacitance of the capacitor. So integrate Q dash with dq dash. So we will get this as 1 by C. Integration of Q dash is going to be Q dash square by 2, and the limits is from 0 to Q. So this will further give us W is equal to 1 by 2C Q square minus 0. If you take the limits from 0 to Q, the Q dash square is going to become Q square minus 0 square, or Q square minus 0. So finally we will get this as Q square by 2C. So we arrived at the expression for work done in charging a capacitor, and this work done is stored as energy. So before we conclude, I am further going to simplify this. You know Q can be written as C into V, so this can be written as CV by 2C whole square, and I'll get this as half CV square. So this work done is stored as electrical energy in the capacitor. Finally, I will conclude. The work done is stored as potential energy in the capacitor so therefore potential energy, take it as U is equal to half CV square. So equation 3 gives us the energy stored in a capacitor. From this expression, we can further derive another expression which is energy density that is being stored in the capacitor, which is energy per unit volume of a capacitor. So we already have U is equal to half CV square. So instead of this half CV square, you can write this as half Q square by C. Now Q, the charge can be written as area of each plates into sigma, which is the surface charge density, and capacitance can be written as epsilon naught into area of each plate divided by distance between the plates. Also, the electric field inside the capacitor is given by sigma by epsilon naught. Making use of these three known things, we will derive what is the energy density in a capacitor. So U is going to become, instead of Q, I will write A into sigma square into 1 by C. So this will become D divided by epsilon naught into A. Further, I can write this as U is equal to half A square sigma square into D by epsilon naught into A. Here for sigma, if I rearrange the same, I will get sigma is equal to epsilon naught into E. So here in the place of sigma, I can write half. Before that, let me take off the common in area, A into epsilon naught into E whole square into D divided by epsilon naught. So on simplification, I will get the expression here as half into area of each plates into distance of separation between the plates into epsilon naught into E square. Area into distance of separation or area into length will again give me volume. So can write this as U divided by A into D is equal to half epsilon naught E square. U divided by volume, energy divided by volume will give me energy density. So I will represent energy density is given by small u, which is equal to total energy divided by area into distance, which is total energy divided by volume. So this is going to be half epsilon naught into E square. So this will give us the expression for energy density in a capacitor. With this, the theory part of this chapter is over. We will solve some problems related to capacitors. The problems that we are going to solve today are the ones that have appeared in your previous annual exams. Today, all the numericals that we are going to solve is related to capacitors. So what are the expressions that we need to know to solve these problems or to solve these numericals? First thing, the capacitance of a capacitor with air between them is given by C is equal to epsilon naught A divided by D. The area A is area of each plate and D is distance of separation between the parallel plates. For the same capacitor, if we introduce a dielectric medium between the plates, then capacitance becomes epsilon naught into K into A divided by D, where K is called the dielectric constant or relative permittivity of the dielectric medium. Then, when two capacitors are connected in series, then the equivalent capacitance is given by, you may note down that as C subscript S. So Cs will be equal to C1 into C2 divided by C1 plus C2. And for the same two capacitors, if they are connected in parallel, then the equivalent capacitance can be written as C subscript P, which means equivalent capacitance for capacitors in parallel will be equal to C1 plus C2. And finally, the energy stored in a capacitor. The energy stored in a capacitor can be written as U is equal to half CV square, where C is the capacitance of the capacitor and V is the potential difference across the plates of the capacitor or across the capacitors. Let us begin. Here is a first question. In a circular parallel plate capacitor, radius of each plate is 5 centimeter and they are separated by a distance of 2 mm. Calculate the capacitance and the energy stored when it is charged by connecting the battery of 200 volt. Given permittivity of free space. Epsilon naught is equal to 8.854 into 10 to the power of minus 12 farad per meter. So let us try to understand this problem. So what are they telling? What we have is a parallel plate capacitor where the distance of separation between them is 2 mm and area of each plate, we need to calculate that. They are given the radius of the circular plate, which is 5 centimeter. So let us begin. Given radius of each plate, note it down as small r, is equal to 5 centimeter. In SI units, it's 5 into 10 to power of minus 2 meter. Distance of separation of the plates, where small d, which is 2 millimeter. In SI units, it is 2 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meter. They have also given the potential difference across the capacitor V is equal to 200 volt. And finally, permittivity of free space is given 8.854 into 10 to the power of minus 12 farad per meter. We are supposed to find the capacitance of the capacitor, for which the formula is capacitance C is epsilon naught into A by D. The area of each plate, it's a circular plate, so capacitance becomes epsilon naught. For a circular plate, the area is pi r square divided by the distance of separation. So this will become 8.854 into 10 to power minus 12 for epsilon naught, pi, which is 3.14, radius square 5 centimeter square, 5 into 10 to power minus 2 whole square divided by distance of separation, which is 2 into 10 to the power of minus 3. On calculation, so this is 8.854 into 3.14 into 5 square will give me 25 into 10 to the power of, I have minus 12 here, and minus 2 square will give you minus 4 whole divided by 2 into 10 to the power of minus 3. On solving the numerator, I will get it as 695.039 into 10 to the power of minus 16 divided by 2 into 10 to the power of minus 3. On simplifying this, I will get this as 347.52 into 10 to the power of minus 16 plus 3. So this will give me 347.52 into 10 to the power of minus 13. If I convert it into picofarads, which is 10 to power minus 12, then I will get this as 34.75 into 10 to the power of minus 12 farad, 0.75 picofarad. We have found the capacitance of the capacitor. Now we are left with finding the energy stored in the capacitor. So the second part, energy stored in the capacitor is going to be half CV square, half into the capacitance is 34.75 picofarad, which is 10 to power minus 12 into the voltage 200 square. The potential difference across the capacitance was 200. So on solving this, what are we going to get? By 2 into 200 square will give me 4 200 square, I will get it as 4 into 10 to power of 4 into 10 to power of minus 12. So what is the final value? On simplifying this, I will finally get this as 69.5 into 10 to the power of minus 12 plus 4. So minus 8 joules. We have finally solved the first numerical. Let us look at the second numerical. The plates of a parallel plate capacitor have an area of 100 centimeter square each and are separated by 3 mm. The capacitor is charged by connecting it to a 400 volt supply. Calculate the electrostatic energy stored in the capacitor. So we can follow the same procedure as we have done here in calculating the energy stored. And then if a dielectric of dielectric constant 2.5 is introduced between the plates of the capacitor, then find the electrostatic energy stored and also change in the energy stored. So this was in this question, this numerical was being asked in the 2018 supplementary question paper. So let us see how to solve this. The numerical 2 can be solved as we are done in numerical 1, where the energy stored is given by half CV square, while capacitance can be calculated using the equation epsilon naught into A by D. Then they have introduced the dielectric medium between the plates, then the capacitance will become epsilon naught into K A by D. So this is K times of the initial capacitance. So the energy this time is going to be K times the initial energy. And finally they have asked us to calculate the change in energy. So this will be E dash minus E. So using these expressions, we can solve numerical 2. Let us move on to numerical 3. In a parallel plate capacitor with air between the plates, each plate has an area 8 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meter square. So they are given area of each plate 8 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meter square. And distance between the plates is 2 mm. Convert to SI units, it will become 2 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meters. Calculate the capacitance of the capacitor. If this capacitor is connected to a 50 volt supply, what is the charge on each plate of the capacitor? So they have also given the potential difference applied across the capacitor, which is 50 volt. And finally, absolute permittivity of free space is equal to 8.85 into 10 to the power of minus 12 farad per meter. Epsilon naught is been given 8.85 10 to the power of minus 12 farad per meter. So we are supposed to find the first thing capacitance and second the charge on each plate. So we know that the capacitance is given by C is equal to epsilon naught A by D. So 8.85 10 to the power of minus 12 into 8 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meter square divided by 2 into 10 to the power of minus 3. So 10 to the power of minus 3, 10 to the power of minus 3, you can take it off, and 2 ones are, 2 fours are. On simplification, we'll get this as 35.4 into 10 to the power of minus 12 farad. So you can write this as 35.4 picofarad. So we got the capacitance. We are supposed to find the charge on each plate. So we know that charge Q is given by capacitance into potential difference across the capacitors. So therefore Q is equal to 35.4 into 10 to the power of minus 12 into V is 50 volts. So on simplifying, we will get this as 1770 into 10 to the power of minus 12 coulombs. So I can write this as 1.77 into 10 to the power of minus 9 coulomb. So we have solved numerical 3. A similar problem is been asked in 2014 annual question paper. Here is the question. In a parallel plate capacitor with air between the plates, each plate has an area of 6 into 10 to the power of minus 3 meter square, and the distance between the plates is 3 mm. Calculate the capacitance of the capacitor. If this capacitor is connected to a 100 volt supply, what is the charge on each plate of the capacitor? So this can be solved as we had solved numerical 3. We will move on. Here is the next numerical. When two capacitors are connected in series and connected across 4 kilovolt line, the energy stored in the system is 8 joule. The same capacitors, if connected in parallel across the same line, the energy stored is 36 joule. Find the individual capacitances. Here they are given us two cases. Case 1, capacitors in series. So let C1 and C2 be the capacitors. Then they have given us the energy stored in the series combination is 8 joule. So energy stored is given by half CV square. They have also given us the voltage, which is 4 kilovolt, which means 4 into 10 to the power of 3 volt. Now rearrange. So C is going to be 2U by V square. So we will take this as the equivalent capacitance in series. Let us calculate this. So this is going to be 2 into 8 divided by 4 into 10 to the power of 3 whole square. So the equivalent capacitance in series is going to be 16, 2 into 8 is 16, 4 square you will get again as 16, 10 to power of 3 square is 10 to power of 6. So this is 1 into 10 to the power of minus 6 farad. CS capacitance in series is nothing but C1 into C2 divided by C1 plus C2. So this is going to be 1 into 10 to the power of minus 6 farad. Equation 1. Next, case 2, capacitors are in parallel. For the same capacitors, when they are connected in parallel, the energy stored is 36 joule. That is what is being given. And the potential is again the same, 4 kilovolt, which is 4 into 10 to the power of 3 volts. So the energy stored in this case is half Cp into V square. Equivalent capacitance in parallel. Rearrange. We'll get this as 2U by V square. So 2 into 36 divided by, you'll get this as C square is going to be 16 into 10 to the power of 6. So simplify this. 4.5 10 to the power of minus 6 farad. For capacitance in parallel, the equivalent capacitance Cp is given by C1 plus C2 is equal to 4.5 into 10 to the power of minus 6 farad. So this is equation 2. Now make use of this equation in equation 1. So we will get this as C1 into C2 is going to be 1 into 10 to the power of minus 6 into C1 plus C2, which is 10 to the power of minus 6 into 4.5 into 10 to the power of minus 6 farad square. So C1 into C2 will be 4.5 into 10 to the power of minus 12 farad. Equation 3. Now using equation 2 and equation 3 we can solve for C1 and C2. So how are we going to do it? C1 minus C2 square can be written as C1 plus C2 square minus 4 into C1 C2. So now we will get this as, what is C1 plus C2? 4.5 into 10 to the power minus 6 whole square minus 4 into 4.5 into 10 to the power of minus 12. 4.5 square 20.25 10 to the power of minus 12 minus 4 into 4.5 18 into 10 to the power of minus 12. So on simplification we will get this as 2.25 to 10 to the power of minus 12 farad. And C1 minus C2 is going to be root of 2.25 into 10 to the power of minus 12 farad square. So C1 minus C2 on simplification we will get this as 1.5 into 10 to the power of minus 6 farad. This is going to be equation number 4. Now we have C1 plus C2 and C1 minus C2, we can solve that. So C1 plus C2 is 4.5 into 10 to the power of minus 6 and C1 minus C2 is 1.5 into 10 to the power of minus 6. On solving this you will get C1 from minus 6. So C1 is going to be 3 into 10 to the power of minus 6 farad. And using C1, if you solve here for C2, I'll get C2 as 1.5 into 10 to the power of minus 6 farad. So we have finally solved this numerical. That is all for this session. Thank you.